Welcome to another Throwback Tuesday, where today I will be reviewing the film Seven, which stars Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt and came out in 1995. Because every Tuesday I review one of the films that is on this poster, and according to this poster, Seven is one of the best 100 films of all time, so stick to the end of the video to see which film I am going to be reviewing next. The movie Seven has a runtime of 2 hours and 10 minutes and is directed by David Fincher. It's a psychological thriller which follows two detectives as they follow a serial killer and try and figure out who he is and solve the crime. The first detective we are going to be looking at is Detective Somerset, which is played by Morgan Freeman, and he has been a detective for many years. He's very seasoned and you can tell that he's very good at his job. However, he has 7 days until he is retired, so he is just trying to have a case that isn't going to take too long, that he isn't going to get invested in and just ride off into the sunset, because while he loves being a detective and loves helping people and solving crimes, he just sees the city around him that is falling apart. It's riddled with crime. Everywhere he looks, people are dying, getting injured, and he feels like there's really no hope for peace to happen here for him. While you have David Mills, which is played by Brad Pitt, and he's a newcomer to the precinct. He has been a detective for about 5 years, but he's new to the city, and he is the cop that wants the action. He wants to pull out his gun. He wants to confront the killer and get into their face. He's very emotional in that sense. While Somerset, yes, he gets invested to these cases. He's caring. In the first scene in this movie, you see Somerset go up to this crime scene and he sees a little kid's drawing on the fridge and he asks, "Did the kids see the murder happen?" And it's because he cares a lot about the people these crimes are affected, while compared to Mills, he's like, oh, they're a psychopath, we just need to get them, who cares who it affects, we just gotta go and get them, pull out my gun, let me be emotional, I want the action, the thrill, the rush. That is definitely who Mills is as a character, and you see that throughout the film. He almost feels Nancy when he can't sit still. Brad Pitt does a very good job of showing how emotional he is compared to Somerset. And they are very two opposite people, and this is illustrated throughout the whole film. Somerset, for example, there is a book that is discussed in this film that might be related to these murders that they are trying to solve. And the book is The Divine Comedy. So while Somerset will stay up late at a library and read the book, Brad Pitt's character Mills decides to get basically the SparkNote version of the book instead of reading it. So you do see this difference in how they go about crime and solving a case. Now the case is there are different murders that are going on around the city, and they all display the 7 deadly sins, which are gluttony, greed, sloth, lust, pride, envy, and wrath. And the killer is showing all his victims that they display this type of sin. For example, the first one is gluttony, and it is an obese man who ends up dying. So each of the victims displays one of these sins, and he's trying to point out that this world is filthy and gross. And the killer's name is John Doe. That's what he goes by. We don't know his real name, and he's played by Kevin Spacey, and you really don't see him until later in the film, which his confrontation is probably one of the best scenes and is very memorable as well. You might have heard the line, "What's in the box?" Brad Pitt says that. It's very iconic, and the lead up to that moment in this film is absolutely fantastic, and especially that all of these murders, you can really tell where he's coming from, why they show this sin, and it leaves the audience guessing, oh, which sin is going to come next. Not like that is exciting, like people are dying, but okay, we've seen gluttony, we've seen lust, we've seen this, what is next? And how is this person going to die? Because typically how they die is associated with this sin. So you, as an audience member, are trying to solve, and you're going along with the ride of Mills and Somerset, and you really are rooting for them to catch this guy who is just running around the city killing people, because the way he kills them is so gruesome, and they do a great job showing this in the film. Another great choice that I love in this film is the rain. Practically every single scene, it's raining, it's wet, it's dark. And then at the end, when you get to the climax of the film, they're in a field, it's bright. It's a very sharp contrast to what this whole film has been. So the way they do the setting is immaculate. Also with the buildings, you can just tell all the buildings are falling apart, that this city is just riddled with crime. Everywhere you look, you can just see how dark and disgusting it is, and why you would want to leave this city too. I wouldn't want to be living there. I wouldn't want to raise a family there, and the film does a great job of illustrating that. Morgan Freeman delivers a great performance. He is one of my favorite actors in this film, is one of the reasons why that in Shawshank Redemption, as well as The Dark Knight, Nolan's trilogy. I just enjoy watching Morgan Freeman. He has a very commanding voice as well. Brad Pitt does a good job. You can feel that he's Nancy as a cop, and he just wants the action, and Brad Pitt really delivers in that, especially at the climax of the film. You can really feel Brad Pitt's emotion. Kevin Spacey does a good job of playing a psychopath. You would believe that he is crazy. Visually, this film does a great job of displaying the murders that have occurred and what being a detective is, looking at all the clues, and also the stress you might feel just waiting around until maybe there's another victim and maybe you might pick something up. It really builds the suspense for this film in a great way. Overall, I love the film Seven. This wasn't the first time me watching Seven. I love this film. I'm really into thrillers, so this is definitely right up my alley. I would recommend it if you love thrillers, especially since it's honestly immaculate how they build up to the climax. But let me know your thoughts on the movie Seven, and if you love it as much as I do. But I just did the random number generator, so we are going to see what film we are going to be reviewing next week. And it is The Breakfast Club, which came out in 1985, and I have seen that film, but you can see what my thoughts are next week. So stay tuned. See y'all later. Bye!